Hi folks, this is Klaus at Top Hydraulics. We have made a series of videos today that showed you the removal and replacement of the hydraulic cylinders in the top and the hydraulic pump, also location and function of the sensors and microswitches, and now we'll show you how to manually close the top if you should ever be caught with the top down and for some reason your top won't close automatically. We'll show you how to do it manually. All you need is the top tool, that is an 8mm Allen wrench on one end and a Torx T15 on the other end. Normally it is in your toolkit in the trunk. The doors should be open or windows down on the doors, and we have already opened the trunk. We will show you shortly how to manually open the trunk if you have to, but in most cases people know how to open the trunk, I assume. So let's get right to it. If you cannot open your trunk lid, deck lid, with your key fob or from inside, there's still the option to use your regular key down here in the lower left corner of the bumper. Put the key under this cover to pull out the bottom, pull the cover out, put the key into this emergency release and turn it clockwise. Now when I turn this key clockwise, you'll hear the trunk lid unlatching, and as you're probably used to, the pump lifting the trunk lid up. If the pump was broken, then your trunk lid should still unlatch and you can afterwards manually lift the trunk lid up. There we go. So here we are looking into the left rear corner of the trunk. We don't have the carpeted panel on the left side in place here, but you don't have to take this carpeted panel out in order to access the pressure relief valve on the pump. So we have to open the pressure relief valve on the pump in order to do part of our manual opening and or closing procedure. To open this valve, we just locate it here pointing towards the inside of the trunk, and we can turn it by hand, a half turn to a full turn. This will now allow us to move the rear tonneau cover manually. So we have opened the pressure relief valve on the pump. We're now going to manually move this rear tonneau cover. The rear tonneau cover is normally moved by these two tonneau cover cylinders, one on the left side, one on the right side, and you can kind of see how this mechanism works. It pushes over a dead spot when the cylinder is fully extended. So in order to pull the cover back in, we just have to put our finger into the correct position, which happens to be here, and we'll show you a close-up from another angle in a moment. We pull on here, and that pulls the cover off over the dead spot again. Left side is released. Now we're going to do a close-up on the right side, where I'll show you exactly where we pull to get this linkage moving. So here we release the right side of the tonneau cover, and you put your finger on top of this linkage point, pull back, and ta-da, it's released. Now we pull the cover up, and in order to fasten this cover again in the same spot, we simply act as if we're retracting the cylinder some more. We follow the movement of this linkage here, and we see that we have to push over this spot. We push against this spot to get the linkage secure in place. Do the same thing on the other side, and your tonneau cover is secured in the open position. The rear tonneau cover has been secured in the open position. Now we can close this pressure relief valve again. Just hand tight is good enough. And we move on to the next step, which will be opening the front tonneau cover. For access to the front tonneau cover release, we actually need to open the rear stowage compartment here. Use our top tool that is in your toolkit in the trunk that has a T15 Torx wrench on one end, and that T15 Torx wrench is used to remove 4 Torx screws, one in each corner of this compartment. You have to kind of finagle the bottom ones if you really want to use this tool. Otherwise you may want to use a smaller T15 Torx ratchet or the likes. Anyway, we have already removed these screws. Are now pulling out the storage compartment. and we'll show you next how to put your finger just in the right spot here to release the tonneau cover. I've just released it, and there it comes up, and we'll show you another close-up how this is done. So here we are looking through the storage compartment at the front tonneau cover opening and closing mechanism. Here's the tonneau cover cylinder with line 6162, and the way this works is when the cylinder shaft extends, it flips up the cover. What does this do? When the cylinder shaft extends, it moves the linkage that at the tip of my finger here would be going up. Now I'll keep my finger out of the image now. You can easily push this up with a finger, but I'll do it with a screwdriver just to stay out of the photo. And after this is released, you just grab the rear of the tonneau cover and move this as far as it'll go. You can make sure it's in the fully open position by just extending the shaft a little bit more by hand, and then you know everything is opened as far as it can on this tonneau cover, on the front tonneau cover. So here's another perspective of opening this front tonneau cover. My right finger reaches into this storage compartment and goes back to the spot where we're supposed to push up on the linkage. I just pushed up on that linkage with my finger, and now we grab the cover in the rear, pull it up and forward all the way. You see these ears going down. Once these ears are down all the way, the cover is fully opened, and you can actually confirm with your hand in here that the cylinder shaft won't move any farther. This is as far as it goes. Later on, when you close this cover, you first start by pulling the ears sideways and pushing it down, and then pulling the cylinder shaft back to the right side. Well, for me it's right, it's actually to the driver's side, as far as it'll go to fully latch this closed again. But we'll do this again. We were supposed to open the cover, pull it all the way, ears down. Here we are, it is fully open. So now we come to the tightest part of this whole manually closing of the top, and that is to manually unlock the top panel from its hold down position inside the trunk. You first have to feel your way under here and remove about 4 inches back from the center position a plastic plug in the headliner. Here's this about 1.5 inch plug that if you put your hand in here on the outside corner of this ear and slowly feel your way in there, you then feel this plug inside the headliner. As if my left hand was now pulling it down, I remove the plug, and where the plug is gone, we have access to put our 8mm tool in that is used to manually unlock the front. We'll give you another shot of that shows how this latch is turned. You basically put your 8mm Allen wrench in here and turn it counterclockwise. Now counterclockwise is looking from below. If you were looking from above, you would actually be turning clockwise. We're turning this almost a half a turn, and this one here that I'm working on, actually somebody else had trouble with this top before and kind of wore out the Allen head. So this is a little bit slippery on me, but I simply turn this a half a turn, then I set the wrench again, keep the wrench firmly in place, keep turning it counterclockwise until this top releases all the way in the front. There we go. And at this point, keep the wrench in a safe spot. At this point we're unlatched in the front, and I can simply lift this top up all by myself. It's not all that hard to move, and carefully set it in the front. Now the way it sets in the front, we now have to manually open this latch again a little bit, and we'll show you a perspective from inside that also shows you how this mechanism works and how far you have to turn this latch to open or close it. So we have actually taken the headliner off the top panel here to show you all the works, and because we had replaced the cylinder anyway, and this is the position where we pulled out the plastic plug that was covering the Allen head access point to the latch, and we had taken our 8mm top tool. You can see how it's kind of worn out in this one, that's why I was struggling. The top has arrived here with the latch not fully open, so we want to open it manually all the way, move the top forward. Moving the top forward is actually done by having your hands grab at the rear of the top and pulling down. Now everything, the pins are seating properly on the left side and on the right side, and the latch slides, the claw of the latch slides into the windshield header, and we can now fully latch this by turning clockwise. When the cylinder shaft is fully retracted, this top is fully latched at the windshield, and here we have a fully latched top in the front. So almost the last step is manually closing this tonneau cover. As I had shown you earlier, we first pull the ears outward, then push the cover down over here, and now as we look into this mechanism, we see that this shaft is almost fully retracted. If we just push a little bit more in this direction, then we know that our cover is fully closed and latched. And last thing is closing the trunk, and our top is fully closed. Well, not that you don't know how to close a trunk lid, but it's officially the last step of manually closing your top. We close the trunk lid and we are done. Ta-da!